You know, I think Newt Gingrich is a little schizophrenic. He went on Fox News, and I guess he's in the finals to be Trump's VP. And he said a few things that kind of troubled me. And they troubled me because Republicans, for the most part, and Gingrich especially, claim to be these great constitutionalists. They believe in, the First Amendment, second, especially the second. Okay, but they believe in following the Constitution. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Constitution basically guarantees free speech. Now, obviously, you should be able to say what you want, and speech does have consequences, but to make it illegal to say what you want, in my mind, specifically violates the First Amendment. Anyway, I'm going to play this clip from Fox News where this lady asked Gingrich to go over or to critique, I guess, President Obama's speech.
And here he is, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, with us now on those Veep fakes and all the speculation. Right. Will we be hearing something soon? What do you know?
Well, I don't know much. My guess is you're going to hear either tomorrow or Thursday, certainly no later than Friday, because they're going to want to dominate the weekend news with the new vice presidential selection. And I have no idea who he's going to pick. I think clearly Governor Pence is deeply in the running. I think Governor Christie's still in the running, and I've been part of the process. So we'll see what happens over the next 2 or 3 days. It's a little bit like The Apprentice. You'll find out sooner or later who the last one standing is. Well,
you've been more than just part of the process. You've been at or near the top of the short list that most have been talking about. Is it still in your interest? Is that still something you'd be interested in doing if asked?
Well, look, as a citizen, if you had an opportunity to help lead the country, I don't see how you could turn it down. I think you'd want to work out the details of what it means, but it would be very, very hard for a citizen who cares deeply to not undertake an opportunity to really help fix things in the country.
Well, you've known Donald Trump for quite some time. You talk to him and you know where his strengths and his weaknesses are. What do you think is most important in his choice for VP?
Well, I think two things. One, there has to be a person who's capable of being president, and certainly the people he's currently talking about are all capable of being president. And second, there has to be a chemistry. In the end, this is a very personal decision by Donald Trump. He's got to look at people, and he may like all of us, he may think all of us are pretty competent, but he's got to say, if I'm going to be president for the next 4 to 8 years, I'm going to have somebody next to me for the next 4 to 8 years. What's the right chemistry? Who do I need in the room to help me be as effective as possible? That's a very personal decision, and nobody else can make it for him.
Ed Rollins this morning said the VP pick, as far as how important it is, it can help a little, it can hurt a lot. So it's worthy of a lot of speculation as we do await some sort of announcement heading in to next week at the convention. That being said, Speaker of the House, we saw the president...
All right, that was 3 minutes and like 40 seconds of dribble regarding Trump and the vice presidential pick. And I'll put a note in there to skip to like 3 minutes and 40 seconds of the video so you can bypass all that crap. All right, here he comes with his critique of Obama.
Stand literally hand in hand with the First Lady and President Obama, former President George W. Bush. They stood together in the city of Dallas as they grieved and as they mourned the loss of those 5 police officers. What did you make of the president's response?
Well, I read his speech and I thought it was a good speech because President Obama knows how to give good speeches. I thought it drifted off from the police back to other problems that might not have necessarily done. But I think it's very sad. Gallup came out this morning and said that we may be at the lowest state of our relationship between the races in 17 years. And I just think there's something really sad when you've had the first African-American president, a very articulate person, a man whose speech back in Philadelphia in 2008 was historic and sweeping in its offer of a more unified America. And
yeah, see, but it's called backlash, Newt. when President Obama got into the White House, he got zero cooperation from the Republicans. Even when he bent over and told them stick it without the grease, they wouldn't even cooperate with him then. And the backlash comes from more instances of people feeling, I don't know if you want to call it betrayed, but taking action and doing things against the minorities, and in particular black people, because of the fact that he was elected president. I mean, honestly, I have seen more issues of discrimination and actual out-and-out violence against black people in the last 7 years than I had seen in the previous 15. So for you to say it's a shame, yeah, it's a shame that you guys didn't want to work with him, because he could have gotten a lot more accomplished for the country. You guys, I'm saying you guys, but the Senate and the House of Representatives would have gotten credit for getting things moved along. Their ratings wouldn't have been in the toilet, and the country would have been a lot better off. The private sector did their job. The public sector, i.e. the government, didn't do their job.
That we've gotten the opposite, and I think because he's so liberal and because his allies are so liberal, I think it's very hard for the president to deal with the real core underlying problems, and as a result, despite...
Yeah, it was really hard for the president to deal with them because the Congress wouldn't go along with them. They wouldn't cooperate. And I will bring up one particular area that there is never any disagreement over, and that's infrastructure. There has never been any kind of a blockage on infrastructure spending in this country. That was until President Obama got in office, and all of a sudden, when the Congress got taken over by the GOP, now they can't come up with any bills to do much needed infrastructure replacement. So if they couldn't agree on infrastructure, you know damn well they wouldn't be able to agree on anything else. That's not his fault, because as everybody knows, legislation comes from Congress. Spending bills come from Congress. The president can sign off on them or veto them, but he cannot originate spending bills.
The good speeches, I think that he's not likely in the end to leave office having brought us together.
Well, as we do face those problems, we continue to see protests in U.S. cities across this country. And not only do we see the protests, but we see these mounting threats to our police. Speaker, do you have any ideas of how we're going to combat this problem?
We should make it illegal to threaten the police. I think somebody who says, kill cops, frankly, should go to jail.
Oh, so you are for suspending people's First Amendment rights. Now, obviously, if, and I'll even go along with making preparations to do harm to police, but not actually doing harm to police. I'll let that piece of it go. But just to say, make a statement about doing harm to police, no, I'm not going along with that. That's a violation of the First Amendment, and the ACLU will have a field day with that one.
I think we have to draw a very sharp line here. Advocating violence against the police is advocating violence against the very fabric of our society. The police domestically, the military overseas, are the key patterns that keep us safe. And I think we have to be very tough with people who threaten our policemen.
Yeah, I hope you're of the same opinion with the various white supremacist groups that threaten to kill police, federal law enforcement people, etc., because they're the #1 threat to police these days. You can try to push that bullshit out about black supremacist groups, i.e. New Black Panther Party, Nation of Islam. They always try to throw those two names in there. Actually, they can't even come up with a third. I could, but size-wise, they're nowhere near the size of the Nation of Islam. And to be honest with you, the new Black Panther Party, if they got 100 guys in there, I'm pretty well mistaken.
And we also saw the testimony from Attorney General Loretta Lynch today on Capitol Hill. The decision, as we now know, is in the hands of the DOJ whether or not to pursue a perjury investigation, Speaker, against Clinton. What does it mean? What are the optics if the DOJ says no?
You know, when you watch from Bill Clinton visiting the Attorney General on her airplane to Hillary Clinton saying she would probably reappoint her as Attorney General, to her over 74 times today. Catherine Herridge told me over 74 times today she refused to answer a question. You look at all that, no wonder the American people think Washington's corrupt and Washington's sick, and no wonder they think the fix is in. I think this is a very, very alarming situation. I don't see how you can have an Attorney General who refuses 74 times to answer questions in front of a congressional committee. I don't see how you can have an Attorney General who meets in private for 39 minutes with somebody who's under investigation, which Bill Clinton is. The whole thing just stinks.
All right, I gotta see if I can find that Loretta Lynch congressional hearing to see if she did in fact refuse to answer questions 74 times. And it's possible, I'm not saying it's not. So, but anyway, I'm going to end it right here because the rest of this dribble after this is not even worth recording.